Maybe I can help you.
Hey guys, as some of you guys already know, not exactly in the best of shape. Basically, yeah, you guys know, I had oral surgery. They had to take all my wisdom teeth out, and apparently from what my wife has told me, there were a bit of complications, and it took them around like 3.5 hours to get done. They had to cut out my teeth. They couldn't just yank them out. They had to break some of the teeth and pull them out. There were curved roots and things. So I've been trying to recover. They got me on painkillers, obviously. Also, besides that, it hurts to talk for a length of time. Some of you guys already know this. I already mentioned this before in that silent video that I put out. And that's also why you've been seeing the influx of KD videos and that one cartridge video lately, because I figured, well, if I can't put out me talking about stuff, then I might as well put something else out. Some people enjoyed them, and I'm glad that they did. One guy, though, expressed his concerns. He wanted me to get back to the more serious topics, the philosophy stuff, and I knew there were some people who would like me to get back to that. And I appreciate that you guys feel that I have something important to say. Just realize that I'm recovering here, so that's why you see my other videos. I can rant for a long period of time and I get energetic. I can't really do that right now. That's why I haven't been putting them out. As far as coming up with text versions of those, I don't think that's my strong suit. I know people like the Big Ho. He's really good at coming up with those text style videos. I'm not. I mean, I wouldn't mind learning how to do that, but I'm not as good with the imagery as he is. So I think that staring at me, just staring silently while text is going across the screen about something like philosophy or politics, would probably suck. Because I don't think I'm good at that. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. Anyways, yeah. One thing, I do have a topic I'm going to try to touch on briefly, just to satisfy those who are like, what the hell's going on? He's not coming out with anything serious, so try to satisfy you a little bit with this, because it's been on my mind. But before I go, I just have to say this much, though. For those of you guys who are thinking that, I'm supposed to only be about philosophy or politics or ranting, when's the last time you've met somebody who was that one-dimensional? If you talk to your friend, if you have a friend or you have someone you know who talks about the same thing over and over and over again, you get sick of them after a while, because they're boring, There's not anything that rounds out their life. Now, it says on my channel that this is about, sharing information about the human condition, and that's true, but it's also about sharing information, any information. And I like sharing some of my interests. Video games and magic tricks or music and things happen to be my interest, and every now and then I'll indulge in that, because it also says on my channel that I will engage in a bit of silliness from time to time. It says it right there. So if you guys are expecting to be like some type of television show or television channel which only talks about one thing, I'm not that artificial. This is a human being here. I'm going to drown myself out. So just saying that now. Water. I gotta keep drinking water. It's not only keep me hydrated, it's also helping me heal, just to rinse my mouth out. Thankfully, I'm not oozing blood all over the place anymore. Anyway. I'm sure you guys have noticed, now we're getting on the topic, I'm sure you guys have noticed just how serious the political landscape has gotten. Like things are getting more and more drastic in just about any sector. The economy has been just swirling down the drain. You got, the election is making people crazier and crazier about, they're turning their candidates into some type of gods. You got, now more than ever, you're hearing stuff like, if you vote for this guy, don't bother returning home. That's how crazy things have gotten. It's like one or the other. It's like the fate of the world hangs in the balance on who we vote for. Please. The fate of the world doesn't hang in the balance depending on what new puppet master you happen to put up. What it really matters is what you guys are going to do in this country. The last coherent video I put up before, you know, my molars, my wisdom teeth got yanked out, I basically asked, so what are the Americans going to do? What are you guys going to do? And it looks like there's some people out there who are actually trying to do something. You know, they're trying to get the word out about what's really going on. But you still got a whole lot of people who are just going with the okie doke. You know, they're caring more about when the next Heroes is coming out, or, you know, when they're mostly sticking to the campaign, thinking that one guy is going to solve all their problems, or going along with the whole, oh, well, we had to put out this economic, you know, falling for the BS as usual. So, and even the people who are trying to get the word out, you know, that's what people have been trying to do since the beginning. I think at this point it needs to get a little bit more drastic. I'm sure some of you guys have heard of Naomi Wolf. I think that's her name. She's been talking passionately about how the country is slowly turning more and more into a dictatorship type setting, and she's very, very concerned that we're pretty much past, you know, to use the phrase, pretty much past the midnight phase. Like, things are getting drastic, and it feels like it. I mean, everyone can feel, even in a subconscious level, that the shit's about to hit the fan. But what's I've noticed, and this is why I'm saying, what are you guys going to do about it, is no one seems to be willing to do anything effective. Or if it is, it's just a few quote-unquote fringe people. Words aren't going to do this anymore. Okay? Words aren't going to do it. Being angry and making ranting things isn't going to do anything. Voting for somebody who's in the corporate eye is definitely not going to do anything. Even Congress has shown that they aren't willing to do their jobs. The list of offenses that the White House has done is just continuing to grow. Grievance after grievance, offense after offense, crime after crime, and no one's really going after them. You know, I mean, there are a few courageous people, but for the most part, there's no mass movement to arrest these motherfuckers, which is exactly what should be done. And if Congress isn't going to do it, then that means it's up to the people to do it. But there don't seem to be enough people willing to do it, or who know enough to do it. It really is a shame, you know. It's interesting looking at the history of this country. I mean, there could have been some decent change, and I'm not just simply talking about the past few years. We can go back to the 60s. I mean, you had a good thing going in the 60s with the civil rights movement, feminist movement, exposing, you know, the lies of government. You had a good movement going, but then you let it crumble. You let it fade with the 70s. With cynicism helps, but then it just got too cynical and no one wanted to do shit. You just let it fade away. And then in the 80s, you just tossed aside all responsibility for a few, you know, for cheap cash and some shiny baubles. Which is why they call it the greed decade. You know, you let an old guy tell you that, you know, it's morning in America, and you decide that was the time to fall asleep. And now look at the situation we're in. It's even worse because Americans dropped the ball. I know I've said this is an oligarchy, and it is. I'm going to change that. It's not an opinion, it's a fact. But Americans still keep saying it's a democracy. Well, if it's a democracy, it's time for you to act like it. The people are supposed to be in charge. And if the people that are supposed to be held accountable are not being held accountable by people that you voted in, then it is up to you guys to do it. Otherwise, you're not living under democratic principles. And if you do want to live under democratic principles, then just go and do it. The Declaration of Independence states that the right to be governed comes from the consent and will of the people. If you don't consent to this, why are you putting up with it? I mean, seriously, why? It's in your historical documents that you're not supposed to let this pass. So why are you? This is not for the people who are out there, you know, busting their balls trying to get things done. This is more for the other masses who either don't give a shit or too scared to do anything or are walking the fog. Things are getting crazy. Really crazy. Don't wait until it's too late before you finally decide to do something, because by then you may lose more than you want to. That's all I gotta say. I gotta get some rest.